please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Hello and welcome. You've joined us on Business Lunch. I'm Nisha Podar and with me is Sonia Shenoy. Sonia, good afternoon. At lunch hour, markets are looking way better than the earlier part of the day. So inching towards the highest point of the day as far as Nifty as well as Sensex are concerned. It's the mid-cap space which is really adding to the momentum, over 1% up in the green today. And it's the banks which are a drag. So overall, market breadth looking much better because of the strength coming in from the mid-cap space. Hindalco at the highest point of the day and is gaining over 3%. So that's one counter to be watched out for. From the mid-cap space, a lot of stocks are doing well. But just recently, a huge spike came in on Nasdaq as a counter. So 10% up on that particular counter. Keep an eye out on Nasdaq as well. Sonia.
Oh, yes. In fact, you know, it is, I mean, you've pointed out a couple of spaces that are doing well. I think what stands out this week is the move in mid-cap IT and mid-cap Pharma. So, of course, the large-cap Pharma names are also rallying. Aurobindo Pharma is up 6.5–7% because of that acquisition. But mid-cap IT names, Nisha spoke about Mastech. Cyient is doing so well this afternoon from the pharmaceutical space. Alchem Labs is up almost about 4–5%. So, yes, despite the market being volatile, there are many trading pockets that are still doing well. But across the globe, Asian markets are under pressure, though they have recovered from the day's lows. Developments on the US-China trade front continue to be the focus as the US is likely to place tariffs on an additional $200 billion worth of Chinese goods. Also, reports of Japan being the next target for trade barriers for Washington hampered sentiment, but the European markets edge higher despite trade talks weighing on sentiment.
All right, on our focus is one particular counter from the pharma space. That's Sun Pharma, and it is under pressure today, 3% down as we speak. And the US FDA observations for Halol unit really drags that particular counter and spark in trade as well. Ekta Batra is right here to give us all the details on that development. Ekta.
Well, yes, negative news which came in for Sun Pharma today. Well, the Halol facility got inspected for a week ending 31st August and they were issued 6 observations by the US FDA. So the details of those observations have also come out now, and it seems as though there is some concern with regards to around 2 observations within the 6. The first 2 where it could probably take a little bit of a longer time for them to resolve, and some of the expert feedback that I've received is that a lot of them are probably, you know, basic observations in terms of basic issues which the company needs to resolve. However, there could be some amount of delay in terms of further approvals coming through. That's one of the reasons why Spark is probably down as well. There are 2 key products, Zelpros as well as Ellipsia, which are filed from the Halol facility and currently under R&D by Spark. So both those drugs could probably be impacted because they are filed from the Halol facility, and hence we could probably see some amount of delay. But it is basically the uncertainty on what could happen next with regards to Sun Pharma, how they remediate these observations, what kind of view the US FDA takes is probably weighing on the stock right now.
Yeah, but Ekta, also stay on because other pharma stocks, let's look at that as well. Aurobindo is surging and analysts have given a thumbs up to the acquisition, with Credit Suisse maintaining its outperform rating on this particular count, especially after that big bang acquisition that they made. What are we hearing on that? What is it that the brokerages really like?
Yes, absolutely. You're seeing follow-on buying coming in on Aurobindo Pharmaceuticals today post the acquisition of Novartis or Sandoz's dermatological as well as oral solids business in the US. The total acquisition size is $900 million, and the company held a conference call last evening, and they did mention that yes, there will be some amount of price erosion that they will see, and eventually, because you know, in terms of guidance on debt, they said that they would look to reduce it probably going into FY20, FY21. Now, brokerages are quite positive on it. For example, CS has maintained its outperform rating. They've hiked the target price to 800 rupees plus, and they have mentioned that you know, the financial parameters of this particular acquisition is something that they like.
Oh, yes, absolutely. That stock is up quite a bit, actually. This week, the stock has gained about 15%, actually, just in the last 2 days. But Bajaj Auto is the other one. The company has got a boost as the government has decided a no permit regime for auto rickshaws powered by alternate fuel. In any case, remember earlier on, a lot of states removed the permits, so Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, etc., and that had boosted Bajaj Auto's three-wheeler sales because they do enjoy 86% of the market share. We spoke to the management earlier. They said it's a progressive step by the government. They added that the company will try to achieve more than 4 lakh domestic three-wheeler sales in FY19.
Based on a recommendation by a committee which the ministry had constituted, I think 12 to 18 months ago, which comprised of a lot of state transport ministers wanting to address the issue of congestion and the consequent impact on the environment of this, intra-city transport. That committee, while we are not privy to the entire set of recommendations, but I believe that committee had recommended that, to deal with the permit and to encourage the alternate fuel options, which is what the minister has announced yesterday at the convention. On the domestic side, we feel that with all these positive moves, we feel that this kind of a growth is sustainable, and this year itself we are certainly trying to breach the 400,000 mark in the financial year.
Markets are holding our head above water for now, and we've spiked up in the last 10-15 minutes. A lot of pharma stocks are hitting new highs. Glenmark, Torrent, Alembic, GSK Pharma, all at fresh 52-week highs today. But the National Company Law Appellate Tribunal, or the NCLAT, today ruled New Metal's second bid for Essar Steel as eligible and gave ArcelorMittal time till September the 11th to clear dues of its delinquent subsidiaries. Ritu Singh joins in to give us details of this important order. Ritu, what does this mean for mostly the, more importantly, the bidders and the bankers involved?
This was an oral order that was pronounced in the court today, and we're still awaiting the fine print of the order, given that, that has not been published on the website yet. But this is what, various lawyers we spoke to and the people that were present in the court have picked up. One, a very clear statement from the NCLAT saying that New Metal's second round of bid is eligible under Section 29A. Two, ArcelorMittal can also remain eligible if it clears the dues of its delinquent subsidiaries, that is KSS Petron and Uttam Galva Steels, which, by now we know is close to 7,000 crore rupees, which if it repays, it will remain eligible. Now, so far what has happened is NCLT in its order on April 19th had declared the second round of bids for Essar Steel invalid, in which, JSW along with New Metal, there was ArcelorMittal along with Nippon Steel and Vedanta Group had placed bids. So now with today's ruling saying that, New Metal is eligible in the second round, perhaps opens the room for even that third bidder to come in the fray, which is Vedanta Group. Of course, as I said, the fine print will have to spell out whether or not they remain eligible. In the first round, New Metal had bid lower and ArcelorMittal was the highest bidder. In the second round, according to New Metal, they have placed a bid of 37,000 crore rupees and are the highest bidder, but those bids have not been opened by the lenders just yet. So it remains to be seen by 11th of September that 7,000 crore rupees that remains in an escrow account as far as ArcelorMittal is concerned, if that is repaid to lenders and ArcelorMittal comes back in the game, and whether or not Vedanta's bid is considered, all of these will have to be considered by the Committee of Creditors after that 11th of September deadline is passed. So that is what we know so far. More clarity will emerge when we get the fine print of the order.
All right, waiting for the fine print of that particular order. Thanks, Ritu, for putting all that into perspective. So the entire saga is not yet over, but this one is an important milestone in the case and the bid process for Essar Steel. Let's shift focus then to TVS Motor, and that stock has rallied more than 3% today. At the moment, 3.5% up, and my colleague Utkarsh Chaturvedi caught up with Mr. K.N. Radhakrishnan of TVS Motors on the sidelines of the SIAM conference to talk about the growth of the company in the two-wheeler segment.
So far this year, April to August, if you look at the two-wheeler industry has grown well. It is almost 12%. We have grown about 13%. So overall, I think the momentum is good this year. And the monsoon is good so far, and the rural economy is responding. So we are expecting a very good season this year.
Any expectations you have in terms of
numbers? I think each company has got a strategy. We want to be ahead of the industry growth.
So I can safely assume that you are speaking about above 20% or around that.
I don't want to put a number to it. I think you have to play by whatever is likely to happen, and we are confident that the products are doing well in the market.
Speaking about the rural economies, sir, how is the sentiment there?
I think this year we know that there are monsoon has been so far has been very good, and overall the economy is doing well. So we are expecting the growth in rural to really do well.
Speaking of BS6, how will that change the landscape for the two-wheeler industry? And also, do you think that the consumer preference towards segments might also take a shift once the price hikes go on?
Too early to comment. I think everyone is now working on coming up with BS6 products. So everybody is trying to prove the technology, prove the product. Too early to comment how it will pan out.
And what kind of investments will it take, especially for TVS?
I can't give you a specific number for BS6, but overall we are investing about 650 crores capex, which includes new products, technology, capex, capacity expansion, all put together.
Okay, well, there's some news that's coming in on your screen. The Finance Ministry may be looking for a share buyback in a whole host of companies in 13 PSUs actually. So there's a list of the PSUs that will flash for you on your screen. I think NBCC is one of them, NMDC, BHEL, Coal India, NTPC. Okay, so that's a Network 18 exclusive that we're picking up. Let's try and get more details on that, but that's important. NHPC, SJVN, NLC India. So whole host of companies where a share buyback is what the Finance Ministry is looking at. Also, we understand that the Finance Ministry will rely on buybacks as big OFSs are not looking feasible at the moment. So these are a couple of details that we are getting right now. The buyback is as per the May 2016 guidelines. The Finance Ministry will decide on the exact share that would be done as far as the buyback is concerned.
So Finance Ministry will be looking at these share buybacks in the PSUs to meet the divestment target for this financial year is what our reporter has been telling us. So these are exclusive Network 18 news. We'll keep an eye out on that, and all those stocks have spiked up, the ones in question as far as this buyback is concerned. So we'll get more details on this bit in some time. Let's move on to some other developments of the day, and the two-day Global Mobility Summit move is underway in New Delhi, where, remember, a whole host of industry leaders are deliberating on the steps to promote the electric vehicles and the share mobility space. And the summit is organized by Niti Aayog, remember. Let's take it straight across to Parikshit Luthra, who's been tracking it closely and gets us all the details of the agenda of the summit and what's the outcome. Parikshit.
We're at the Mobility Summit where Maruti Suzuki India Limited has showcased its electric vehicle. This is the prototype, which is here, which is in front of you right now. It would be launched in 2020, and Maruti, along with Toyota, is preparing its electric vehicles. This vehicle will be launched across the country. There will be 50 prototypes which will be tested as per Indian road conditions, traffic conditions, and temperature as well. And after extensive testing, it will be launched in the Indian market. It looks like a WagonR, so to say. This is not being called a WagonR. This is what company sources are telling us. You can see all the markings of an electric vehicle. This is probably where the charging is going to take place from. It completely looks like a WagonR from the prototype. Let's see what the company really calls it. From today, the testing of this vehicle is going to begin extensively. Today, Osamu Suzuki, the chairman of Suzuki Motor Corp, said that electric vehicles would, of course, need adequate infrastructure. They also said that we should not only be looking at EV technology, we should be looking at hybrids and CNG as well. We're joining you from the Mobility Summit in New Delhi, Parikshit Luthra.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. Well, let's listen into what Prime Minister Narendra Modi had to say about the future of mobility in India.
The goods and service tax has helped us rationalize supply chains and warehouses networks. Our reforms are on the move. We have made India an easier place to do business. India is moving ahead with new energy, urgency, and purpose.
All right, and the summit also, remember, had a whole host of industry leaders. Let's hear out what they think on the keys to achieve the electric mobility in India.
What if we were to create a universal app for multimodality? An app that any Indian could hold in the palm of his or her hand. A digital platform not necessarily in the private sector, but a public-private partnership. A platform managed and governed by an autonomous body with widespread shareholding involving every Indian. And I would suggest we do this before Uber and Google get that idea, and then we are left wondering how to challenge the domination of global giants. Perhaps we should call that app Move in honor of today's conference.
When it comes to electromobility, in recent years Bosch has been continuously investing approximately 400 million euros annually. Today, more than 800,000 vehicles are on the road worldwide with Bosch technology. In the current context in India, we believe the 2- and 3-wheeler segment will be the first to be electrified. We are in advanced discussions with several key players to introduce our tailor-made solutions to this segment in India. A technology-agnostic approach with the optimum powertrain mix has the potential not just to reduce CO2 emissions, but also to improve India's energy security.
Okay, well, let's talk about that Network 18 exclusive that you just saw a while back. The Finance Ministry has given an in-principle nod for a share buyback in 13 PSUs in order to meet its divestment target. Remember, the divestment target for FY19 was set at 80,000 crores, and so far the government has garnered just a little over 9,000 crores. So it really needs to act fast in order to meet this target. And Sapna Das joins in to tell us what the Finance Ministry is planning. Sapna, over to you.
So broadly, what we understand from our own network is around 13 buybacks have received in-principle approval from the government. That may be so. A host of companies are mentioned in that. Just looking at things in a wider perspective, as you have correctly pointed out about the target and the fact that at what levels we are right now, what we are given to understand is a threefold strategy. Basically, of course, buybacks is one critical element. The second would also be the follow-on offer for the CPSE ETF. At some point in time, we were given to understand that probably around 8,000 to 9,000 crores is what the government would like to raise from that. And last but not the least, the point over here probably is that a lot of CPSE valuations are not looking too good at the moment. That's a sense that we are gathering from the government. So probably the OFS route, which is what everybody has been, waiting for anxiously, because that's where the big moolah also comes in, and that also sends a kind of a signal to the market. Well, probably that's not immediately on the table. So, as a fallback and also as some of the guidelines are already there in place in terms of how the better investments of PSUs can be utilized, they're sitting on huge cash reserves, probably that can be put to a better utility. Keeping all of that in mind, a combination of CPSE ETF and your buybacks, OFS is not looking extremely hot as of now. So probably, more clarity on that at a later point in time. And last but not the least, the Ircon IPO is already kind of in the pipeline. After that, we're getting to hear that it's going to be Garden Reach and Moscow Dock. So this is the plan as of now in terms of disinvestment.
All right, Sapna, thanks so much for getting us all those important exclusive details on the government's divestment plans at this point. Let's take a look at one particular counter. Reliance Industries single-handedly really taking the market up at this point. Sudden spike seen there, and Nifty 50 has also perked up on the back of that. We'll keep an eye out on that one, but we'll slip into a short breather at this moment, and we'll get you an excerpt from our exclusive conversation. Welcome back, guys. It's Friday, and let's take you through the CNBC-TV18 weekend this week. And our colleague Kritika Saxena, she caught up with Kishore Lulla, the chairman and CEO of Eros International, and spoke to him about Eros Now subscriber base and the revenue model from the tie-ups that the company has made.
10.1 million so far. What's the target by 2020 in terms of subscribers?
2020, we're targeting anywhere between 25 to 50 million paying subscribers.
25 to 50.
50 million, yeah.
What's the plan with respect to the tie-ups which you have with, you already have tie-ups with telecom players like Jio, with Airtel. What's the revenue model there?
So three basically revenue model. One is B2C, which is directly a consumer proposition. So you have a price point in India of 15 rupees for a basic service and 100 rupees per month for a premium service. The difference between the premium service and basic service is that you can have as many devices and also high definition and download to own. So you can download the content and travel anywhere and watch it at your own.
Correct.
So that's the difference. Now, then second is B2B2C, which we are working with the telcos in India and telcos outside of India or any partner. What we do, we have our service bundled with their service. When they are selling their data to the customer, they are including the content offering and they're charging X price to the customer. And from that X price, what they're charging to the customer, we are getting paid per subscriber X amount from them in lieu of providing that service to them. So that's the second model. And the third model is B2B, whereby, like, you know, say for example, even Amazon Prime in US has taken our service. They're charging customer $7 and they're paying us $4 per month.
Okay, well, the latest news flow is what you're seeing on your screen. Motherson Sumi has announced a bonus. They've announced to exchanges that on the occasion of 25 years of the company being listed, they have announced a bonus for their shareholders. Look at the way the stock is surging. Of course, a surging stock is not new to Motherson Sumi. I mean, it has created quite a bit of wealth for shareholders in the past. And even if you look at the way the business has grown, you know, just looking at the numbers, in FY10, for example, Motherson Sumi generated $1.5 billion of revenues. As of FY18, that has gone to almost $10 billion of revenues. Of course, including 22 acquisitions that they have made over the last many years. But give and take everything, Motherson Sumi has grown wealth for itself and wealth for investors for many years now. And the company has decided to return back a bit more. They've announced a bonus of 1 share for every 2 shares held. And the street is definitely giving 2 thumbs up to that.
Oh yes, thumbs up coming in for Motherson Sumi. Markets are overall in the green except for Bank Nifty. With that, it's a wrap on Business Lunch. Midcap Radar comes up next with all the market action. Stay tuned.